What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sherpa channel, where I read you some cryptocurrency news articles so you don't have to. And we did it! We got Trump into presidency. Yeah, you know I'm excited for that, because now there is a chance we can have a strategic reserve that he did mention to hold for the states to hold Bitcoin. Yeah, the United States hold Bitcoin for this is the first time ever. So woo, and get your Bitcoin while you can. That's what the title said for this article, because of this now, all the other countries literally only have 2 months around the world to gather up as much Bitcoin as they can, because if we go through with the strategic reserve, we're going to be buying up at least 1 million Bitcoin within the next 5 years. And that's their plan. So that's what, $76 billion worth? Can we hold 5% of Bitcoin? We'll see. But exciting times. And yeah, everybody's gobbling up Bitcoin. So countries aren't just competing with states. Yeah, compete with companies. We also got BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF surpassing their gold holdings. So kind of showing people want, or companies want, Bitcoin over the other assets. Both still solid assets, gold and that precious metals. You definitely want to hold on to that too. Diversify your assets, but Bitcoin is definitely very favorable. We're also reaching new all-time highs now with Bitcoin. We're currently at 76. The all-time high right now is at 77,200. Oh, can we touch 100,000 by the end of Christmas or up to Inauguration Day? Let's just wait and find out. But so much bullish news for you. And we have another funny article at the very end. You know how I always like to cover a scam article. Some guy was wearing a rubber mask to try to get into some guy's Kraken account, so stay tuned for that article. But yeah, let's go over the news, what's happening and what's going on. But first, yeah, let's go over the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve is now on the table. Here's how it could work. So will the U.S. adopt a strategic Bitcoin reserve with Donald Trump headed back to the White House? Senator Loomis explains her plan. So let's hear what she says about all this. Now that Donald Trump is set to become the next president of the United States, a strategic Bitcoin reserve is in the cards. The idea was teased by Trump and several other U.S. politicians in July and early August, but lost some steam following a Bitcoin price dip at that time. But we're back up, so it's okay. Now, one of these prominent voices is that of Senator Cynthia Loomis, a Republican from Wyoming who has been called the Bitcoin senator for her vocal support of the crypto industry. She shared a strategic reserve plans at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville in July and told Decrypt that this week what it can happen if Trump's earning a second term. Now, President Trump has proven he will be the most pro-Bitcoin and pro-crypto president in our nation's history, she said. And under his leadership, we are better positioned than ever before to build a brighter economic future by creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, here is that tweet from Senator Cynthia Loomis. We are going to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, Loomis has led the charge to create the reserve, which she claims will supercharge the U.S. dollar's position as the world reserve currency for decades to come. Now, the path to creation is already underway with the introduction of the yet-to-be-passed Boosting Innovation and the Technology and Competitiveness through Optimized Investments Nationwide Act, simply referred to as just the Bitcoin Act. Now, the bill proposes a decentralized network of secure Bitcoin vaults operated by the United States Department of Treasury. Loomis explained it would set a framework for the U.S. government to acquire as much as 200,000 Bitcoin annually for 5 years, potentially adding up to 1 million Bitcoin, nearly 5% of the total possible supply of the cryptocurrency, because there is only 21 million out there. Now, Bitcoin's current price of approximately $76,400, this would cost the country more than $76 billion. However, the buying period will last for 5 years, and Bitcoin's price is famously volatile. On top of that, a government entity declaring plans to acquire nearly 5% of the total supply of Bitcoin and then starting to do so would likely impact the price. But it would likely impact the price if they got to get it from exchanges, centralized entities, anything out there. But most likely their strategic plan would be doing over-the-counter exchanges to try not to fluctuate with the price so much as if they were to do it straight from the exchange. Now, Loomis claims that this would be paid by diversifying existing funds within the Federal Reserve, consisting of bonds, loans, and other assets like gold, which currently sit around $7 trillion, rather than creating additional debt. Now, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve would mirror the Treasury Department's existing responsibility for managing the nation's gold reserves, operating independently from the Federal Reserve System. Loomis explained that our aim was to establish it as a modern parallel to our gold stockpile, serving as a digital age hedge against economic uncertainty while maintaining the Treasury's historical role in safeguarding critical national reserve. Now, interestingly, the US government already holds billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin seized through the criminal cases, and this puts a substantial Bitcoin reserves under the government custody, a Coinbase representative told Decrypt. Now, according to Arkham Intelligence, the US government currently holds nearly $16 billion worth of Bitcoin, along with other digital assets, but it is unclear if these funds would be absorbed by the proposed strategic reserve. But earlier this year, the government started moving these funds, with Trump vowing that under his presidency, the government would not sell the seized Bitcoin. So yeah, once he made that announcement, it was just like, we'll start moving in. Like I think they only sold a couple thousand Bitcoin, but hopefully they don't do anything within these next 2 months. Because again, it's still unclear if this is going to be sent to the reserve, we're just going to hold it for another thing. We'll just have to wait and see. But Loomis claims that the new strategic Bitcoin reserve would also run under a similar never sell your Bitcoin ethos outlined by Trump. The Bitcoin Act creates a minimum holding period that requires any Bitcoin acquired under the legislation to be held in reserve for 20 years, she told Decrypt. And at the end of the 20-year holding period, the U.S. would reevaluate its position and make a decision on where to go from there. Now, the bill was introduced to the Senate by Loomis in July, but failed to move beyond that stage. Still, the act needs to be reviewed and passed by the Senate and the House and finally approved by the President. Now, next, Congress is the perfect time to get this legislation and other common sense digital asset bills across the finish line, Loomis added. Now, will it happen though? Well, Cody Carbone, president of crypto lobbying group, the Digital Chamber, said that the Trump's intent on the matter appears clear, though the when and how of it still needs to be sorted out. I think it's very realistic now, Carbone told Decrypt, and the president-elect has made his intentions clear and that he endorses this policy. Ideally, we'd get legislation to ensure staying power through administrations, but that seems difficult. He continued and questioned to remain whether a reserve will include new purchases of Bitcoin or merely just moving existing government holdings. However, I think it's safe to say that Trump's administration will be holding its Bitcoin and hopefully growing its supply. However, not every crypto enthusiast is happy about the proposed plan. There are concerns about the centralization of Bitcoin within the US government, which bucks the kind of independent ethos that has defined the leading cryptocurrency. Now, going this route could very well centralize the asset, giving the government oversight to an asset that prides itself on being decentralized, said Telcoin president of banking operations Patrick Gerhardt, who previously spent a decade working on political campaigns and initiatives for the US and its senators. Now, would then have more control over the product and its place in the marketplace. Now, while the current plan would be to hold Bitcoin for 20 years, at the end of this period, any sizable sales could significantly impact the market, especially if the government held 5% of the total supply. For this reason, combined with general crypto-related awareness, Gerhardt explains that there may be some difficulty in passing this act. Now, one could have to convince a lot of skeptical senators and representatives that this is a good idea, he exclaimed, considering how new this product is and that the need for a better understanding and oversight of it, I believe, would take some time to get this idea off the ground. So that's what some people think. But again, 20 years is such a long way away. By that time, who knows if the US dollar will still be around, or there will be another thing in its place. I'm not saying it's going to be Bitcoin, but is it going to be something that's backed by Bitcoin, like how the US dollar used to be when it was backed by gold? So, yeah, so that's still 20 years away, but just at least acquiring 5%, yeah, that does make it a little bit, would make Bitcoin a little bit more centralized in a way because they hold 5% of the supply. But again, will they be able to acquire that? Again, there's only 21 million Bitcoin out there that's ever going to be existed. 19 million is minted. Let's just say 4 or 5 million is gone and lost forever. And then you got people out there that are just never selling. So it's going to be a fight to try to acquire that much Bitcoin. So we'll see how this goes. Fingers crossed, I do hope it goes through because, yeah, that does do well for the Bitcoin price. So, woo! So that is our first news article. Let me drink some black coffee with creamer, so it's not really black, but no sugar. I gotta be good. But let's move on to our next article on how BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF just flipped its gold fund. So someone's favoring Bitcoin more, and they did that really fast. But yeah, BlackRock's iBit ETF now holds upward of $33 billion in assets, more than the asset manager's gold fund. So BlackRock's Bitcoin exchange traded fund now holds more than the assets than the asset manager's gold ETF, despite only launching in January. Data from BlackRock shows that iShares Bitcoin Trust exceeds $33 billion in net assets as of November 8th, surpassing iShares Gold Trust, which holds just shy of that amount according to the iShares. Now, it's absolutely wild feature because IBIT launched only 10 months ago, whereas the IAU has been trading since 2005. Nate Geraci, president of the ETF store, said in a November 8th X post. So yeah, here's Nate Geraci's post. iShares Bitcoin ETF has now surpassed iShares in gold, did this in 10 months, and iShares Gold launched in January. Absolutely wild. And here's the numbers for the side-by-side. So let's see, 33. So this one's the Bitcoin ETF, which is 33 billion. And yeah, gold ETF is just at 32 billion. So just shy of it. Now, the crypto market surged following Donald Trump's victory in the United States presidential election, as many believe his win will benefit the industry, said Cointelegraph's research team. And on November 6th was IBIT's biggest volume day ever as investors flocked to the cryptocurrencies after Trump's election win, Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Bashunas said on a November 6th X post. Now, on November 7th, IBIT clocked $1.1 billion of inflows, reclaiming the inflow status after 2 consecutive days of outflows totaling $113.3 million, according to the Farside data. Meanwhile, Bitcoin continued this trend of consecutive daily all-time highs as Bitcoin's price traded above $76,800. Now here's the ticker of the year-to-date inflows going on, and yeah, just how much money was going through it. Now, Bitcoin has dominated the ETF landscape this year, accounting for 6 of the top 10 most successful launches in 2024, Geraci said. Now, of approximately 400 new ETFs launched in 2024, the 4 biggest ones by inflows would have to be the spot Bitcoin ETF, said Geraci, and Trump's president's win is a green light for more than half a dozen proposed crypto ETFs waiting on the regulatory approval to list in the U.S. Now, in 2024, asset managers submitted a flurry of regulatory filings to list ETFs following altcoins, including Solana, XRP, and even Litecoin, among others. I really want that Litecoin one to come first. And we'll see. I think it has a better chance of the other ones. But again, now that we have a pro-crypto president, all these seem to be approved a lot probably sooner, maybe. We'll always got to wait and see. But issuers are also waiting on approval for several planned crypto index ETFs designed to hold diverse baskets of tokens. Now, the filings were effectively and call options on Trump victory in the U.S. presidential race, and Balchunas said on October 25th. So BlackRock is dominating at least the Bitcoin ETFs out there, and yeah, just surpassed gold. So again, like I said, it's going to be a rush to start collecting this Bitcoin. Like I said, from just president having a strategic reserve for it, we got BlackRock acquiring it. MicroStrategy has been acquiring it for years. They got a head start. El Salvador made it legal tender at the end of the last bull run cycle, and just get it while you can. I'm still going to keep saying that. So that was our second news article. Now, next up, let's go over how this U.S. big city, Detroit, is to introduce cryptocurrency as a payment option for tax fees. That's right. You can pay your taxes potentially this year if you live in Detroit with crypto. And you really don't want to get rid of your cryptocurrencies, if you're actually staking some coins or you're mining coins and this is earned crypto, why not use that one? But don't do the ones you've been collecting and hodling. But let's go through this article that comes from Crypto Potato. So the crypto payment system aims to improve accessibility and efficiency for residents without traditional banking options. Detroit residents will soon be able to pay their taxes and other city fees with cryptocurrency as part of the city's drive to modernize and attract blockchain businesses, according to the local Office of Treasury when it launched in mid-2025. Now, this new payment option will make Detroit the largest U.S. city to accept cryptocurrency payments. Now, the broader tech initiative in November 7th release, city officials said that the new crypto options would be offered through a secure payment platform managed by PayPal. However, the announcement did not specify which cryptocurrencies the city would accept as payment. Now, Detroit's new crypto transaction option is part of the broader efforts to integrate technology that improves city services and boosts civic engagement, as well as drive economic growth. Detroit is a building of technology-friendly environment that empowers residents and entrepreneurs, said Mayor Mike Dugan. He added that they were enthusiastic about being among the first major U.S. cities to explore blockchain technology's civic uses and provide residents with the option to pay with cryptocurrency. Now, the Treasury Nikhil Patel noted that the new system set to launch in mid-2025 will be accompanied by other improvements to city payment channels. The upgrades aim to improve accessibility for residents, particularly those who prefer using cryptocurrency or lack traditional banking options. The platform also aims to improve the customer experience and boost internal operational efficiency. Now, is this an open call for blockchain innovators? The city has also announced an open call for blockchain entrepreneurs to present their ideas for civic applications of blockchain technology. Justin Onwenu, Detroit's Director of Entrepreneurship and Economic Opportunity, will oversee the initiative, and entrepreneurs interested in submitting proposals have until December 15th to email their ideas to the city. Now, blockchain technologies have the potential to drive greater accessibility, efficiency, transparency, and security, and we're excited to hear from entrepreneurs at the forefront of this work, said Onwenu. Now, Detroit's new initiative aligns the city with a growing number of U.S. cities and states that accept cryptocurrency for payments. Colorado became the first state that accepted cryptocurrency for tax payments in 2022, with Utah and Louisiana following suit. Now, cities like Wilston, North Dakota, and Miami Lakes, Florida also allow residents to pay city fees with cryptocurrency, with many partnering with companies like BitPay and PayPal to secure their transactions. Now, the development also follows the recent election of crypto-friendly Donald Trump as U.S. president, which has potentially positive implications for the industry during this election campaign. And the newly elected president consistently supported the cryptocurrency and promised to foster the sector's growth. So as you can tell, like just by Trump winning, like that has been like the hot topic of all these articles. It's like, this is kind of because of this just happened. So yeah, the whole election thing was just like a big boost for cryptocurrencies. But way to go, Detroit! Huzzah! On accepting crypto. It's just one of these little stepping stones we need, just like incorporate crypto and blockchain payments into the new system. It's like they agree. There are some people who don't like the traditional banking system out there, so they don't want to be. They might even have a bank account. They have crypto. They may have cash, but maybe they sometimes have to pay their taxes just to follow suit. So it's like, okay, I got crypto. Let me pay with that. So it's just one little stepping stone, as eventually just everybody's going to start accepting it. And these guys are using third parties as their platform. Like they said, they're going to use PayPal. The other states out there were using like BitPay, just third party intermediaries where you pay them the Bitcoin, they convert it to US dollars, and then the receiver gets the US dollars on the end of it. So that's how that really works there. But that was our Detroit city accepts crypto for taxes. Yes. Now let's move on to some stablecoin news, where Tether is expanding into oil trading and just completed a $45 million transaction. That's right. So this was completed in October of 2024. The deal facilitated the transport of 670,000 barrels of crude oil and marked Tether's entry into the commodities trading market. So Tether is just expanding everywhere there. So interesting. Let's learn a little bit more. Now, stablecoin issuer Tether has debuted on the commodities market by financing a 45 million crude oil transaction, according to a November 8th announcement. The deal involved a publicly traded oil company and commodity trader. The transactions in Tether, USDT, was completed in October and facilitated the transport of 670,000 barrels of Middle Eastern crude oil. The deal was led by Tether's trade finance business, an arm of the company focused on integrating blockchain technology into traditional trade finance operations. Now, Tether first hinted at lending billions of dollars to commodities trading companies in early October, seeking to provide financing alternatives for an industry largely dependent on the traditional banks. Now, according to Tether, the trade finance industry has marked value of $10 trillion. Now, with USDT, we're bringing efficiency and speed to markets that have historically relied on slower, more costly payments structures, said Tether CEO Paulo Arduino in a statement. He was like, "This transaction marks the beginning as what we look to support a broader range of commodities and industries, fostering greater inclusivity and innovation in global finance." Now, according to Bloomberg report, the company has been exploring the use of its stablecoin as a way for global traders to avoid the dollar in countries like Venezuela and Russia that have been sanctioned by the United States. So a nice little workaround there. Now, Tether's billionaire earnings were used to finance the deal, and the company posted a profit of $2.5 billion for the third quarter of 2024, bringing its total earnings for the year to $7.7 billion. Now, its total assets amounted to $134.4 billion as of September 30th, with $102.5 billion from its reserves held in U.S. Treasury bills. Tether also reported to hold an additional 7,100 Bitcoin, worth over 530 million at the time of this writing. Now, the company has been diversifying its businesses with investments in startups across several industries, including renewable energy, Bitcoin mining, artificial intelligence, and telecommunications with education. So yeah, Tether's been expanding so much out there, and yeah, Tether's one of the top stable coins out there by market cap. If you look at coin market cap, I think it's like number 3 on the list. It will go Bitcoin, Ethereum, then Tether, because I think they have a market cap of 120 billion was last I checked, and that's just like monetary energy that can inflow into like all these other cryptocurrencies out there. It's just waiting there to be used. These guys are using it for the commodities, but hey, it's getting in the hands of these guys and it can be simply swapped over to Bitcoin if the company wanted it to. So yeah, a lot of people keep an eye on stable coins and how much market value they have, because that can easily move to other projects. But that is our Tether news. Woo! Now let's move on to our final news article of the day. It's Saturday. Still got so much to do. It's just busy here. But this one is the funny one where it's like, really? This guy did this? Like, but he didn't get away with it. But scammer tried to hijack Kraken's crypto account wearing a rubber mask of a victim. Now, Kraken says that a man tried to maliciously gain access to an account by wearing a shoddy mask that vaguely matched the rightful customer. Vaguely, it like didn't look like him at all, most likely. But let's hear about this story. When trying to regain access to your Kraken account, you may be asked to jump on a video call with a support agent to prove you are who you actually are. Now, last month, the centralized exchange said it caught someone wearing a Halloween-style rubber mask attempting to fool the worker on the other side of the call, but it didn't work. The attacker had raised a number of red flags during the first round of checks, such as failing to name the assets that the account held. And what else do they say? Let's see. The flags also caused the agent working in the case to require a video call to grant access to the account. So once that first one didn't work, it's like, okay, let's get a video call to see if you actually are the person. But during the call, the Kraken worker asked for some more questions and checked the person's ID, and he failed to do that as well at that stage in a very dramatic way. Now, our agent was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is a rubber mask. The guy's wearing Kraken's chief security officer, Nick Perochi, said. Now, this was an X post from him. Now, there are deep fakes, and then there's this guy. He's trying to gain access to Kraken's client's account. Nice try, buddy. Let's see. There's no talk about it, but look how fake this is. Like, just looks like a mask. You can see, like, the little holes where his eyes are blinking. It's terrible. But the mask didn't even look like the person, the attacker who was claiming to be. Percoco said that the victim was a Caucasian male in his early 50s, so it appeared to Percoco that the attacker just simply grabbed a mask that vaguely fit the description. So that's I guess what he thinks a white man in his 50s would look like. And this isn't the first time that someone has worn a disguise in an attempt to fool Kraken. We see things like this from time to time where people put on a fake mustache, and he told Decrypt that they show ID and it looks close because they wear the same style glasses. They have a mustache, have blonde hair, but we see that from time to time, but they never pass. So that's always good that they can't fool these workers. But this is the first time, he added, that someone has gone out to the costume store to actually get a mask. To make matters worse, the attacker didn't even have a believable ID. It was clearly photoshopped and printed onto card stock, Percoco explained, albeit with the correct information on it. It just, you can tell it was not it. Now, while this wasn't a sophisticated attack, it highlights that even sloppy scammers can potentially gain access to the private information of everyday people. Even with such an unpolished attempt, Percoco believes attackers could see success. Now, I think it must work, he told Decrypt. I think people wearing disguises, people who breach another place and get a copy of your government ID and then print it out on a glossy paper, holding that up for some exchanges, that probably works. But he claimed that some exchanges do not have the same level of attention to detail that Kraken demands from its team. Percoco specifically points to companies that outsource their support, claiming that this is more likely to lead to mistakes. Now, if he's correct, then this means that those using centralized exchanges shouldn't always rely on the company to fend off bad actors to protect themselves. Percoco says users should deploy two-factor authentication everywhere from your email to well beyond to prevent bad actors getting any personal information at all costs. Yeah, do not forget that email, because that's what happened in my family. Yeah, hacker got in on the email site, got into the Kraken account that way, and then it was a loss there, learning experience. Didn't in fact happen to me, but it was a learning. I like to learn from other people's mistakes, so that way they don't have that they don't happen to me. So yeah, take this as just learning. Like, if you ever see an article of someone like made a mistake, they were hacked, they did something. It didn't happen to you, but it could. So that's why you should always be on high alert and take that as a lesson, so that way it doesn't happen to you. Now, even with such protection methods employed, a user can still fall for phishing scams out there. For the top level of security, he recommends using FIDO2 and passkeys, which are hardware keys that can turn your phone or laptop into your password for an account. Now, passkeys are cryptographically bound to the sites and applications you're using them with. He said you cannot be duped into thinking you're logging into Kraken. Yeah, like the passkeys out there, there's one out there called like the Ubi key or the Ubisoft key. It's like a thumbprint. You plug it into your USB as well, so it's kind of like a third factor authentication. So you got your password as your first line of security. You got your two-factor authenticator, whether it be an email, SMS, text, or an application where you gotta type in those 6 numbers within a certain amount of time. And then you'd have the Ubisoft key, which is the pass key, which is a third layer. So that's if you want to be super duper protected, but always at least have two-factor everywhere you go, because that helps keep your identity safe. But luckily, this foolish scammer didn't get anything, didn't hack into it. I wonder if he got even arrested. I wonder if they were able to find who he actually was. But so don't feel like this guy out here. But that is it for today's news articles. I hope you did enjoy them. Let's go Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the Fear and Greed Index on CoinMarketCap's pricing. Let's see. We are currently at a 73. We are in greed territory time now. So I've been saying this as I always cover this. I was going pay attention. Once we're out of the fear, we're going to be in greed for a couple months. So it's it's a good time to be cautious, because when we are greedy, there might be a correction in the price. But when people are fearful, that's the best time to buy. So that's always a good use of the use case for the Fear and Greed Index. Bitcoin's price is currently at 76,200. Ethereum is at 3,000. Woo, we passed that. That's up 23% in the week. Nice. Solana's up 20%. Like, we're in the green if you look at a weekly chart. XRP's up 8%, and Dogecoin went up 30%. Where is Dogecoin going to be going this cycle? This is crazy. Now, if there's one, I don't know any Doge, but if there's one meme coin I would have, it's Dogecoin, because that one I don't see going anywhere at all ever. Shiba Inu, it's one of the bigger ones. They got a burn rate, they got stuff on there. But Dogecoin is the OG, it's original, where we have more use cases. We even got now the new department, the DOGE. What does that even stand for? Department of Governing something? I just watched that Elon Musk Joe Rogan video. How do I not remember that? But yeah, so I do hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your weekend. Stay safe, get that Bitcoin while you still can. If you're brand new, sign up for exchanges, because once the bull run truly hits, you want to be sure you're KYC'd and ready to go, because if you try to do it during that time, then it might take a month for you to get verified and start making purchases. And then when there's time, if you want to take profit off of it, you just want to be set. So start doing that now and get ready. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.